On December 1st, 2022, the DOL announced its final rule on the appropriateness of ESG investment options inside of your 401k plan. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive into what that means for you as a fiduciary as well as the participants in your plan. First and foremost, just what is ESG investing? Forbes Advisor states that it's a strategy in which you invest in companies that you think are going to be making the world a better place. That sounds all well and good, but how does it work? Well, ESG in fact stands for three different factors. The E, environmental, S for social, and G for governance. And today we're going to be looking at all three. First up is environmental. Perhaps you as a participant have a strong desire to support efforts against climate change. Maybe you just want to make sure polar bears last for another 100 years. Regardless of the reason, companies that focus on the E are trying to make the world a better place by reducing carbon footprint. Perhaps they're using less chemicals in their manufacturing, or are generally increasing their sustainability. Next up is the S for social, or another way said, can a company prove to its investors whether or not it's improving its internal or external social impact? Companies can demonstrate their efforts in hiring practices focused on LGBTQ+, gender and racial equality. They can also utilize their vast resources to help make a positive impact on social groups they consider underprivileged in the outside world. Finally, we come to G, or governance. G puts a focus on how the company is run. Is the company overpaying, underperforming C-suite executives? Can a company demonstrate that they are going above and beyond compliance standards set by their government and their industry? Is their board sufficiently diversified to reflect their community and investor expectations? Governance is considered a sleeping giant of the three factors, the factor that is most ignored until something terrible happens in the company behind the scenes. Previously, it was difficult to satisfy the DOL's prudent man standard when selecting ESG investments for your 401k. Traditionally, ESG investments have sacrificed some level of return or increased risk for your plan participants. Now, though, the DOL's final rule will allow fiduciaries to take plan participants' desires into account and utilize ESG factors as something to consider rather than just return and investment risk. If your participants are indicating an increased demand for ESG funds, now might be the time to take a look at the available options and explore the pathway to either replacement, addition, or changing out an investment in your menu of funds. A word of caution as you proceed. Not all ESG investments are created equal. If your participants are asking for more ESG options, we want to take a moment to understand why. Perhaps they're mostly interested in the E of ESG, in which case we want to utilize third-party reviews to make sure that the investment options we choose are highly rated ESG funds for the E and not the S and the G. So you've done your due diligence and you've added ESG investments per your participant desires. Congratulations. What might you see at a plan level as a result of these changes? Well, for one, now that your participants' needs have been met, they are now incentivized to invest more inside of an investment vehicle that can help their cause. Likewise, you might also see increased contribution rates across the board now that there is a different ESG vehicle amongst the investment lineup. Let's take a look now at the prudent investment review process, but with the ESG lens added on at the end to make sure we're getting the right investment for our participant desires. Here we have 4 international growth funds. Each is a great fund, and we can see percentile ranks that are favorable across the board. This is just an example, but if we were reviewing these funds for a plan, any of these could be a viable candidate for an international growth fund for a 401k. When we switch to the ESG factors, however, we can identify the outlier of the bunch. According to OWL ESG, which ranks funds on a scale of 0 to 5, with 5 being the best, the American Funds International Growth Fund is an underperformer when it comes to ESG factors, a potentially tie-breaking consideration for fiduciaries with ESG-focused participants. So there you have it. Those are the high points of 401k ESG investing after the DOL's final rule of December 2022. Let us know what questions you might have in the comments below. See also the description for resources that are available so that you are well equipped to answer questions of your committee as well as plan participants. Thank you so much for watching.